All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Bottom Six podcast. We're your hosts, Alex, Trevor, and Tyler. And let's just get into it. Trevor, there's been something that's bugging me. I have a question for you. I'm hoping you can give me some answers. I'm hoping I can get some answers. And that's Brady to Chuck. Do we have a Nylander situation on our hands here? Is he asking for that Marner money? All right, this is what I'm wondering. What's going on? What's the negotiation? It's not like you have a cap situation going on. Give that man whatever the hell he wants, for God's sakes. Like, what is going on here?
So, for one, it is not going to be a Nylander situation. They are not out part. Two, let me confirm on if it's Marner money, which he's looking at. I don't know, because what is he making?
I mean, what would you consider a fair deal if you're the GM of the Ottawa Senators right now? You want to sign Brady to Chuck.
Well,
what are you offering him? Is like what you think is fair?
Well, essentially, the way I'd have it is I'd have it essentially in the range in which, they're not that far apart. It's like from the last discussions I've heard, so it's like they offered, or the organization offered 8x8, so 8 years for 8 mil per 64 total, and then for a long-term deal he was thinking 8.4, so it's like there's a bit of a difference there, so it's like they still have to get that worked out, but it's not Marner money because Marner makes me a bit too much still, but two sides are close. If it's not before start of season, maybe he misses a little bit, but I don't.
I mean, would a comparable be Pettersson in this case? Like Pettersson just signed for what, like 7.35 for 3 years, something along those lines. I mean, for like, say if you wanted him for 6, I could see like an $8.5 million, which wouldn't be. I wouldn't actually think that's too bad. $8.5 million to Chuck, and for 6 or 7 years if you locked him in. I mean, why not just go for the whole 8? But it seems like they're trying to go for like a mid-ground deal.
That's like on the last pod. If I remember correctly, I was thinking it was like 7 to 9 range. So it's like that's essentially fitting into what's going on in negotiations. But that is the likely scenario. Well, with Ottawa, let's get into.
Wait.
What?
When is the deal getting done? When are we hearing about it? Is it, is it going to be at the end when we're done recording this? They're going to announce it? Is it going to be next week? Like, the season's starting soon, bud. When is this happening? Is it before the weekend? By the end of the weekend?
I don't know, man.
Or is it going all the way to December, Nylander style?
I don't know.
Come on, Trevor. I need answers. Damn it, you're the Senators expert here.
That's like, as I said, they're close, so it's like I don't presume it being long, but it's like we don't know. It's like we're not going to speculate on that.
Well, all right, fine. I guess we'll not speculate. Let us continue onwards.
Offer sheeted
on the topic of the.
He's
getting offer sheeted.
Oh.
He's getting offer sheeted. Who's sending them the offer?
Some team's just going to be like, "Fuck it." It's going to be Arizona.
I don't know if they have the. Well, actually, they do have the picks next year. Wouldn't they to be able to do it? But I don't know if they have the cap room currently.
I don't know what Arizona's cap's like. Let's see.
Buffalo's going in on them. They got room to fucking.
Arizona has $10
like
million in
money.
Projected cap space.
Here we go.
So
from the full
they'd
10.
be up against it.
Give them the full 10.
Yeah, give them everything.
And the compensation.
Plus, I don't know if that includes their LTIR either, so they might even have more money.
Oh yeah, right when the season starts, they would have more.
I think most has been moved to this point, but yeah.
Yeah, because Edmonton's going to
All right, Trevor.
Going to get some more LTIR.
I won't tease you anymore about the Chuck for now.
Well, let's get on to the season previews for the Atlantic and the Pacific, the two divisions in which we focus on a little more closely. And with Ottawa, they've they've made a couple changes through this offseason. They've added Zach Sanford off of St. Louis in a deal in which they swapped out Logan Brown, which
Who?
he kind of fell out of favor since the Norris deal. So yeah, that is what that is. And then they've also brought in Del Sotto and Holden on the defensive side. So adding up a bit of defense.
More, I mean, their bodies. They
Yeah.
fill a spot. They'll play until the other young bucks are ready to step in.
Yeah. And then out the door, they got rid of Dadnoff to Vegas, and then there was a couple guys that were kind of on the fringes. Your singles, your Anisimovs, your Stepan, and your Amadios, where they signed elsewhere during this free agent frenzy, and then they lost the core to expansion. So they've got a fair amount of goaltending depth, so it's nothing that I'm too concerned over, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, you still have good old downtown Connor Brown, the former Leafs legend.
Yeah.
Guy's a stud. He looked good in preseason too. He's always out to play, at least against the Leafs.
Yeah.
He's mad. He's like, "What the fuck? Why'd you trade me, bastards?" Actually, you know what? How's Austin Watson looking?
Well,
Old?
so I wouldn't really like.
Old.
Austin
He's only
Watson's
29.
a-
It looks like.
Have you looked
He's
at him
not
lately,
old,
though?
but
He
it's
looks
just-
old as fuck.
He essentially fills in on that fourth line, and he gives us that bit of grit. That's essentially what his role will serve. It's like the
He's
way
a plug,
I
basically.
see it.
He's a
that's
warm
like-
body on the ice.
Yeah, because the way I see it for their lines going into the season, I have Kachuk first line, but see
Oh,
if
I
he
was
starts
thinking of
not.
someone else.
So Kachuk, no. Okay. But yeah, thinking Kachuk, Norris, Batherson on your first line. You've got Stutzla, Pinto, and Connor Brown on your
I
second.
thought you said Chuck Norris on the
got
first
Sanford.
line. I was like, no fucking way. They're winning the cup now, boys. VCI, I heard that.
Fuck
Chuck
yeah.
Norris.
Yeah, that definitely just slipped out. Of my mind. I have White on the third line, but Beans with the shoulder injury, he might be out long term. And then filling out that line with Paul, and you've got Formanton, Bishop, and Watson in your fourth line, and then so Shabbat, Zaitsev, Brandstrom, Zub, Del Zotto, and Holden, and then you've got Murray and Forsberg as your tenders. So
Well,
maybe
Victor Mete
like,
right here. Where's he
Fourth
slotting?
line.
As
Press
much
box,
as I
homie.
like, that's the thing that I had the issue with the Del Zotto move. It's like you're taking away the time from these younger guys. Like essentially, it's almost seen to a case where he's just going to go on waivers again. Unfortunately, if
Oh,
things stay
Yeah,
the way
and
they
someone's
are.
probably going to pick him up.
But
How's good
possibly
old
contending
Zaitsev
for
doing for the
playoffs,
Senators lately?
what was it,
Good old,
sorry?
good old Zaitsev. How's he doing for you?
He's
see, I'd
fine.
rather have
I was
Not
gotta
really.
say I don't miss him at all.
I'd
At
rather
4.5
have
mil, I
CC
don't
in my
miss him.
top 4 than Zaitsev on my top 2. Just throwing that out there.
No.
That's exactly what the
No.
Leafs said too. They're like,
No.
I'd rather have fucking CC for a year
Yeah,
than this piece of
CC's
shit.
gonna be the bottom pairing defenseman when Bouchard steps up. Kid's gonna have a
Yeah,
good
he's
year.
got a-
I'd rather Zaitsev, if I'm honest.
Well, I mean, one
Yeah.
year of CC was a small sacrifice to make to lose that contract. I mean, that's really why the Leafs did it. I mean, I thought he was okay. He wasn't spectacular. He's not horrible. He was kind of just very okay, but he was just making too much money. At least after
Yeah.
the Leafs signed all their guys, they just couldn't afford to keep him.
Keep who?
Essentially,
Mhm.
Oh,
Zaitsev, because he had like 7 years at 4.5, and it was just like, okay, we don't have the money to keep all of our guys if we keep Zaitsev around, so they literally had to trade him to like make room to afford like Marner and Nylander and
Oh, excuse me.
all those guys.
That was violent. Sorry, boys.
All right, what about Matt Murray? How is he looking to start the preseason?
Garbage.
Like, is he looking decent? I mean, he's pretty much all you got. I mean, I guess you have Anton Forsberg that looked okay in some outings last year, but he's definitely just more of a backup. Like, he couldn't be a starter for you guys.
Yeah, it's like Murray's all right. I haven't looked too much into the preseason stats because again, it's preseason. It's not really all that indicative, and I think if I remember correctly, I think he's only played in one preseason game at the time of recording this. So that's like they've been going with Forsberg, they've been going with Gustafsson just to get them some reps.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll see. Actually, do we play you guys
Saturday.
tomorrow?
Oh, you're talking preseason. I thought you were talking like actual.
Preseason. There's one more preseason game. I think
I
it's Leafs
believe
versus Senators on Thursday. I think that's tomorrow. So maybe
either
tomorrow he'll
tomorrow
play.
or Saturday. I'm not certain.
But yeah, that's I'm not. I haven't been keeping up as much with the preseason stuff. I've only watched a game here and there.
Yeah. But yeah, they're a team that's on the fringe of playoffs. We'll see, but let's get moving along with one of these other teams in the Atlantic.
Boston.
In the Atlantic Division.
Yeah.
All right, what team should we go with next? Tyler wants
Boston.
Boston. The Boston
Boston.
Maroons. The fucking dreaded Maroons. I hate them. The most hated team in the league
That's not true.
for obvious reasons.
You said Toronto wrong.
I forgave them, as I usually do. Forgave them for the suffering they caused me last year. I actually watched that All or Nothing documentary, and it gave me a little bit of closure. You know, it was interesting watching it. I thought it was cool, and it was just like you could tell from episode 1, it was like a train wreck already starting. Like Keith was already nagging at them for like bad habits they were kind of getting into, and they never corrected it. Like things that they did basically at the beginning of the season wrong, you noticed it in those playoff moments where they got knocked out. You know, it kind of came back to haunt them. So
episode 5 was my favorite.
we'll see how this year goes.
I loved episode 5. Watching the
that one, I actually kind of dreaded watching just because I knew the Tavares injury was coming.
That part sucked, but then watching you guys completely fall apart was beautiful.
That was painful.
A thing of beauty.
It was interesting too because Dubas and Marner had that meeting before Game 7 where like Dubas was trying to like get the jitters out of him, like get him some confidence. Because I think you could tell like by the end of that series, like Marner was like shaken up. Like I don't know. I think those guys actually. Like Tavares actually, as their captain, plays a significant role in that team, and I think him being out in that moment of like pressure, like if he was there, I feel like he could have maybe been the difference to help them turn it around. But obviously, the situation
or maybe
was,
losing 6 with Tavares in the lineup.
Maybe things probably would have been. But I'm just saying, like at least in that moment, you could tell Marner couldn't handle the pressure that he was taking.
That doesn't surprise me.
That's what it looked like to me. So this is the season they got to figure it out.
Still a young kid.
Yeah, still a young buck. But yeah, it's like it kind of illustrated to me like the whole like how everything happened, and I don't know. It kind of made me pumped up for this season. Like I'm like, okay, I'm ready to move on and like get on to another year, and let's just hope this one goes better.
All right.
So I kind of felt better after the whole
Toronto. We talking Boston.
I recommended all hockey fans. Obviously, Leaf haters like it. Leaf lovers like it.
It was cool to see it through like the perspective of hockey players and through the coaches and GM's eyes. Like it was cool to see what kind of goes on behind
like the dynamic of it. Yeah, and like how it all works. Like it was actually
I like
really
that the one part when Matthews was like, "Yo, who's that guy we used to play COD with?" And I was just like, "Yo, NHLers talking about COD. That blows my mind. Like I can't get over that. Like all these young kids are heavy into video games like us."
In another timeline, Austin Matthews is a Twitch streamer.
Probably.
For
like
COD or
20 years
like
ago, NHLers probably didn't even know what video games were.
Oh, fuck no. That's the thing. Like, they humanized the players, I think, which that's what I kind of liked. It was just like, I kind of, at least for me, I got an inside glimpse into my own team and like the guys themselves.
I
don't know, got a little bit more of a connection.
I don't know if it was just me, but it seemed like there's a lot of, hostile, not necessarily hostile, but there's like a lot of, I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of kind of like a little bit of hate towards Keith. Like that one episode when he's talking to Matthews, and Matthews like, yeah. You could tell Matthews didn't care what he had to say. So it's like, is like Keith not getting through to these young guys? Is that why they keep choking in the playoffs? Because they're like, fuck it. we don't want this guy here anyways.
Yeah, well, that's why he went. That's like you can see later on that episode. He goes and he talks to like Spezza and Tavares, and he's kind of like, "Yo, you need to talk to these guys and like basically get the message through them, like what I'm trying to tell them."
Yeah, so I think
because the thing too is it was Keefe's, I guess, not first season because he kind of had that half season when Babcock got fired, but it was like the first season he kind of started, and you could tell like he had to kind of like establish like the ground rules right at the beginning. But I mean, come on, you got again young players, as you're saying with Marner and Matthews. They're both young. They're rich as fuck. They're superstars. They probably have some pretty big egos. So it's like you got to learn how to manage those kind of players. And that's a like I would have been interested in having a season 2 because it would have been interesting to see how the relationship developed more this season as well, right? Like just how it would have changed. But I think the players are more willing to buy in at this point because basically Keefe was telling them all along what they needed to fix. They didn't do it, and they lost because of those habits they had. So at this point, it's like, okay, you did it to yourself. Like I told you so. Now either you can fucking listen to me and we can try again this year and like do what I tell you, or do what you did before and fucking lose in the first round, right? So
guess we might as well just continue with Toronto at this point. So
to the good old Toronto Maple Leafs. I've been watching some of their preseason games, keeping in touch with what's going on. I saw one interesting cut was Nikita Gutsev got cut from his PTO. He didn't get signed. Hosang got an AHL contract, but Gutsev got cut, which I thought he scored a couple times, I think. So I was like, oh, maybe
I was reading that
right,
he basically was like non-existent other than those couple times.
Just a floater. Yeah, that's basically what I heard too. So I'm like, okay. What it is the Leafs have scorers, but they need you to fill like another role, like score goals. But are you going to be someone who grinds in the boards and digs at the puck? Like, are you going to check? Are you going to hit? Are you, what's your thing going to be? And not like the dude obviously couldn't figure it out. Kase looked good, or Kasha. I don't know how to pronounce it. Kasha, maybe. He looked pretty solid. Yeah. I liked him. I think. I'm hoping there's still another gear to him, though. Like, I know he's been dealing with a lot of injuries, so I'm hoping that there's still, like, another level he can hit, but I still liked his game. David Kampf, another guy we signed this offseason, he looked pretty... Honestly, he actually did better than what I thought he would do. Like, he exceeded my
expectations. How's Hyman looking in training camp?
You tell me, man.
Beautiful in that jersey, I tell you what.
That's a dark memory I don't want to look into. I know I tagged in that one clip of that dirty tipping, and I'm just like, oh,
bro, that all is just fire, those three. But that's for another time.
Yeah, we got a fair replacement for Hyman, though, just to build off of that. Michael Bunting, he was easily like one of the best players during our preseason. Like he scored pretty much every game. He scored a hat trick one game. I'm pretty sure maybe it was against you guys, Trevor.
I wouldn't say he replaced.
I think it was the hat trick.
I wouldn't say he replaced Hyman because Ty Ratty scored a lot of goals one time in preseason, and we all know how that worked out.
Well, it's more the style of goals. Like he scored, like all of his goals are like tipping goals, like Hyman does. So it was more like, okay, at least for me, I felt more confident. Like, okay, Hyman's gone, which sucks. I mean, I'm not saying Bunting is Hyman, but I'm like, okay, it looks like he has a similar kind of game type to him, like a similar scoring style. So I'm hoping he can kind of fill the hole that Hyman's leaving. So I guess we'll see. But that's my hope. I liked him at least in preseason. We'll see how it goes kind of moving forward.
How's Mrazek look so far?
Mrazek's actually impressed me, to be honest. It seems like there's moments that he has where like maybe he'll let in like an odd goal, like, but then it's like when he wants to crunch down, it's like nothing gets by him. Like one game, it was like tied 1-1, and Mrazek let in like a bit of a soft goal, and then the Leafs ended up winning like 5-1, or I don't know. They ended up taking over the game, and Mrazek just shut the door.
It was 1-1, and then they scored, and then Toronto made it 5-1. So they scored, and
no.
The other team lost a goal.
Like the one goal that he let in was the one goal that he let in. The way you saw it,
you made it seem like the other team went up 2-1, and then all of a sudden it's 5-1.
Basically, it's just like I noticed if he lets in what he would probably, or I mean, even as a fan, we would consider a bad goal. It's like he gets mad and is like, "Fucking nothing is getting past me anymore. Fuck you." and he just doesn't let anything else in. So I've actually been loving that about him, where it's just he makes some big saves, like he can kind of turn the stone wall on. So I'm just hoping he has that consistency. Like it does seem like there's a moment that he wakes up to hit that level, so he's not always full on like, yes, I'm a beast, but he has the point of reaching that. So I'm excited to see that. Campbell looked okay so far, so I'm kind of more happy that we have Mrazek at least for a tandem. I'm gonna miss Anderson, but I don't think he's gonna.
They're
ever
gonna
be the same
James
Anderson.
Reimer Campbell. They're gonna run him out of town now.
Oh God, I hope not. I love Campbell. He's so good.
He's also
like that
might be
streaky
one
line
of the
his
greatest
personality's so
human
good.
beings ever. Watching him in that documentary, it was like this guy is just
Oh,
this guy just
God.
has such a warm fucking heart. Like he just loves his life. He's just having a good time out there.
It's like if a golden retriever turned.
That's
into a
exactly
human being.
how I would
That's
describe
Jack
him too.
Campbell.
Just a golden retriever in net. Fucking
Basically,
air bud
yeah.
out there.
Like even after the got his streak, I like how everyone's like, "Oh yeah, speech," and he just gets up and he's like, "Thanks everyone," and just like sits down, like he's just like, "I don't know what to say. Woohoo, we did it, guys!
Yeah.
Thank you." Just was so wholesome. I laughed so hard. I'm like, yeah, this guy's just like overwhelmed probably with what's going on. Imagine being the Leafs goalie and setting a record like that. Like, fuck yeah, childhood dream, man, childhood dream coming true there. They still have one more dream to achieve, though. Damn it, one more. And yeah, let's see what else was Richie. I wanted to make a comment on Richie because same thing too. He was another signing. I thought he looked pretty good last night. He got 2 goals, which were nice little bang, like kind of banging goals.
They got him slotted beside Matthews.
Who else do we have?
That'll allow them to stop.
Yeah, he's gonna. I'm interested. That's the thing. Him and Marner look to be getting some good chemistry going on. So we'll see how it goes once Matthews comes back from his like little wrist surgery.
Richie will actually toughen them up too. That'll add some toughness to that line.
I still remember the year that Richie was drafted was the same year as William Nylander got drafted. And it was just like all the, I guess, boomer fandom, like the Berkey fandom, were like, oh yeah, we need more truculence. We need Nick Ritchie.
You did.
Luckily, the Leafs picked William Nylander instead at 7th overall. But like, I think Ritchie was picked shortly after that. Like let me look at his thing here. When was he drafted? 10th overall.
Nylander's nice, but Ritchie's just
like
a player you don't come around too often anymore.
Oh, well, I wouldn't have picked him at 10th overall. Like, he's not a huge scorer. Like, I would have rather taken Nylander, but I mean, it's like a dude that, like, if he can put up like 20 goals on that line, I'm happy with that.
Is he?
And if he can kind of be like that net front presence, like that big body that could just fight for pucks and shit like that, like that's
so he's 25.
That's good enough for me.
Decently young too.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's still got some youth to him. I mean, we got him, I think, what, $2.5 million for the next 2 years. Like, not a bad, decent little deal. So I'm like, if he could turn him, yeah, it's like if he can just be, pot 20 goals.
He had 15 last year.
And then just kind of support the other guys.
He had 15 last year, which is pretty good.
Yeah, and he's probably playing like third line minutes or whatever on Boston too. I doubt that he was even in the top 6. It's like the dude's getting the opportunity of a lifetime to play with fucking Marner and Matthews. It's like, if you make the most of this, like, I don't know, like he could do pretty good. He might even exceed that expectation. Maybe he'll live up to that first round pick potential. Yeah, he went 10th overall, right? Nylander went 7th, so he was up for grabs at the time. But luckily, the Leafs picked Nylander. I think Ehlers went 8th. Which the thing is, like, I always wonder. I'm like, I wonder what Nick Ehlers on the Toronto Maple Leafs would have been like. But I also love Nylander, so I'm not really. I feel like either one of them would have been fine. But yeah, I mean, that's good enough for me on the Leafs. I feel like there's not much else to go over. We'll see what fucking happens this season, if they do anything productive or if they just break my heart again as usual, which that's probably the more likely cause, is they'll break my heart, but hopefully not. Now we can do the Boston Bruins.
Wrap around the Boston.
All right. I mean, fuck the Bruins, but let's see what the hell they got going on here. Nick Foligno, that's like another little.
That's a boo-boo.
That's a stinger. that's the thing. I was actually pretty happy we got him, and it's just disappointing with how it all worked out. How he had the back injury, and then he leaves to Boston. And it's like, ugh, really, dude? Come on! Like, you couldn't have given us 1 year and just try to make a run with us. Fuck.
Yeah, you basically fucking got him for nothing. Or they basically got him for nothing, and you guys traded so much for like.
It's like
8
Leafs
games.
traded a fucking first and a fourth. Yeah, for like 8 games of Nick Foligno, and we didn't even make it past the first round. Like, but he's making fucking almost $4 million. Jesus, no wonder the Leafs didn't sign him. The Leafs were probably like, "Here, we'll give you like 1.5 with $2 million," and he's like, "Jesus, fuck that shit, boys."
Yeah, pretty much.
Eric Halla, I mean, I like him. I liked him for the past couple of years, but he's pretty injury prone. We'll see how he does. Who else do they got? Curtis Lazar, former senator, right? Didn't you guys draft him?
Yeah, I believe we did, and then kind of bounced around after. I don't want. Was it? It might have been Mono that kind of derailed him, but I don't know for certain. Don't quote me on that, but.
Oh, I feel like maybe I did hear something about that. I don't know. He never lived up to his potential, though. It seems like.
No, because like after he got it, it derailed him a bit. Then moved to Calgary, and he's just kind of bounced around since. But I think the main thing to talk with Boston is a change of the guard, because Rask is no longer, and Ullmark is. Which
the thing though is
like
I heard Ullmark might be injured.
Is he? I haven't heard.
Apparently he may be injured, so he might not be even starting the season.
He might not even have a chance for that job then, because Swayman might just come in and steal that right out from under him.
I mean, they're paying him $5 million for the next 4 years, so
he did.
I guess their hope is that he can be their starter. But I guess if Swayman comes in and takes the net, I'm sure.
I think they'd be okay with that one too.
I'm pretty sure like Rask too is getting his surgery, and I think he can play like come January. So I wouldn't be surprised too, come like the new year. You hear like Rask signed at like league min for the 1 season, so he can go on a run with the Bruins or something.
Ullmark has a winning record playing for the Sabres. He's 50, 47, and 13. Last 3 seasons, he's had a winning record.
Yeah, he's a decent tender.
Good goals against average. Well, kind of high, and then percentage. Like, they could end up having a really good fucking goaltender. That's why I'm worried about Boston, man. I think a lot of people are, really.
Their defense core, to me, though, is what's weakened.
That and
like they got McAvoy. Yeah, you got McAvoy. Carlo's okay. Grizzlick's okay. But I mean, then you got Forsberg. Riley, Mike Riley. Which I'm like, those are guys that are like bottom pairing D. Like, those aren't top 4. John Moore, who the fuck is that? Connor Clifton, okay, I know who that is.
And they're like
Jacob Zorbel.
Their center depth's not the strongest either. With having Charlie Coyle and
if you
could have Coyle on your third line, I think that would be DeBrusk, Coyle, and Smith. I think would be one of the best third lines in the league. So if they could somehow add some center depth at some point this season, I think they could be pretty deadly.
Yeah, because they have true. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Their center, if they have Coyle at the second line, that's kind of meh. I mean, how much space do they have to play with if they did want to? Looks like they still have.
They've got 1.6. They don't really have much of anything, really.
Yeah, but if fucking Rask comes back and Swayman's playing great, you could move Ullmark out for a fucking center. Because I'm sure a team will take on Ullmark. Not that you want to get rid of him, but I mean, why have him when you could have...
Well, what's going to happen is they'll probably get the other team. They'll probably make a trade where they'll trade off, a smaller piece in a draft pick, and then they'll get the other team to retain or something like that.
All right, well, that's enough for Boston, because fuck Boston.
Yeah, fuck Boston.
Let's talk about Buffalo, because they got Ullmark. That's no longer there. So what
Buffalo.
are they going to do?
All right, yeah, I was gonna say that's probably enough talking about Buffalo. On to the next team.
Yeah, it's like Eichel needs to get a surgery. Hurry the fuck up with that shit and move on. All right, that's it. Like
poor Tobias.
I don't even
Reeder,
know fucking.
man.
who is this on their team?
Tobias
Like,
Reeder
Vinny
can't even make
Hinostra,
fucking Buffalo.
Rasmus Asplund, like Axel Johnson Fajalbi. Like, who the fuck are these guys? Like, there's no point in even talking about the Sabres. Nobody cares about the Sabres. The Sabres don't even care about the Sabres.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, there's some that might, but yeah, it's like they've added Hino, Stroza, and Butcher and Hag, but that's just essentially out of deal with some of which they're dealing out their higher guys like their Reinhardts, their Ristolainens, and so on.
This
So
might
Here,
be
let's-
one of the ugliest NHL lineups I've ever seen in my life. Cody Eakin as your second line center, Kyle Okposo on the second line, Kajula on the first line. Fuck, don't get me wrong, I fucking love Kajula, but he is a fourth line player, a maybe third line player at
It's a
best.
team full of
Best,
fucking
like,
scrubs, man. They're full of
mind you,
scrubs.
this is maybe not how they go about it. This is just the way I personally see it. It's like you can't really tell with their team because like there's just
It's a
whole bunch
fucking
of, like,
AHL
middling
squad,
guys.
and like Rasmus.
For the
Dahlin,
love of
that's
God,
basically
trade
it.
Cousins away. Do not ruin his career like you've done Eichels. Trade him away, please. Let the man
Oh,
go
yeah, they have
somewhere where you'd
Cousins.
rather be. All right, fuck Buffalo.
Yeah, they're gonna be bad. Let's move on to
Yeah.
Detroit here. Detroit, I guess we can talk about them a little. They're still like another kind of like, you just don't care what's going on with you yet.
But they're silently making waves over there.
Yeah, like they got
It's
a
like-
decent little upcoming team, but they're not ready to step into the line yet. Like Bertuzzi, cool,
Yeah, but Bertuzzi's like
decent player. Verana, that was a decent pickup, but it sounds like
Bertuzzi
he's
can't even
injured
play the
already.
whole season because he can't get vaccinated or he won't get vaccinated. I'm not quite. So
Oh,
he
yeah,
can't play
true.
any of the
He's
games
a-
in Canada, and then there's like a couple states I guess he can't go to either. So something like I think I read that he was missing 18 games. Like I'm not sure for like 100%, but that's 18 games you're losing your top winger. Like that could hurt a lot.
Yeah, because it's like when you're looking at it, it's like, okay, then you got Larkin, and then like I don't know, Zadina, has he been good yet? Like I thought he was
It's
good.
been alright.
I will score
but it's like-
many goals in the NHL. Or whatever.
Well, they've added some good pieces in Nedeljkovic. They've added Suter off of Chicago, who I was like, he just kind of came out of nowhere last year and was like good as like a top six forward for them. So they've added some pieces.
And
so
you got
it's like,
Nick.
I think it kind of becomes a bunch where it's like Montreal, Ottawa, Detroit. It's like you can go like 5-7, but that's like you can put them in any order. It wouldn't make too much of a difference. Like, they'll be pretty close. I
Yeah,
think.
and
at
then
least.
you got Nick Leddy, which is also a pretty good pickup on defense there.
Yeah, that's a decent little. And then I mean, their defense is,
Not great.
you know, they're NHL players at least.
Yeah. They
And
look
who they
better.
got in
They
net?
look
Thomas
better than
Greiss and
Buffalo.
Alex
Let's just say
Nedeljkovic.
that. They look better than Buffalo.
Yeah, it's
No.
like Nedeljkovic was a good snipe they got from fucking Carolina. I still don't know why Carolina
Yeah, I don't
made
know
that
what
trade, but
what Carolina was thinking on that. That was
yeah, because they replaced him with Freddie Anderson and who was the other guy?
Anti-Ranta.
Oh yeah, Antti Ranta. It's just like, oh,
yeah.
okay,
Like, all right, cool.
all right.
They're not terrible, but it's like when you've got an up and coming guy, why trade
Yeah.
him away?
Yeah, it's like why? What was the whole point of that move? It made no sense. So I mean, at least Detroit took a nice little piece out of that.
All
trade. So
righty.
again, I think next year they're probably going to be looking a little better.
On to the team with 7 fans. The Florida Panthers.
7 fans. Yeah,
They didn't really.
They
They
picked
got-
up
they got
Leafs legend,
Reinhart,
though.
didn't
They picked up Leafs legend, Joe Thornton. Father Time himself.
they? Oh, they did. True. Yeah, they got Joe Thornton, Leafs legend. Owen Tippett. Did they draft that guy? Maybe
Yeah,
they
I
did.
drafted Tippett.
And then Sam Bennett,
Yeah,
they
also-
obviously re-signed.
He
They
looked
got,
good from
Sam.
from
Like the bit
yeah,
that
he
did.
looked good.
Sam Reinhart, they picked him up. So
That's
they
gonna be a
stole-
solid
got
pickup.
freedom
Like
from
that's a
fucking Buffalo.
pretty decent top
Oh, God.
six if they play like they can. Like
I think Florida is going to be like one of the, teams pushing for the playoffs here, like the top 4 of the.
I
the
still have
Atlantic,
no
that's for
idea
sure.
why Ottawa never signed Duclair. Like he must not have wanted to have been in Ottawa, but that was a major.
Well, at the
There
time,
is-
it's like he wanted like $5 million a
Oh,
season,
shit.
and Ottawa wasn't willing to
Yeah,
pay it.
good luck
but-
getting money off Ottawa.
Yeah, it's like he's making $3 million per now. Like, and he's a decent,
But
like,
playing on a better team.
decent
so.
winger for them. But I mean, Ottawa could have used him. But
It's like the thing is, it's like there was like some like communication breakdown, I guess. 'Cause, like, so it's like he ends up going to Florida for less. It's like, okay, that's fine, but it's like I'm not gonna stand here and listen to, oh, Ottawa doesn't pay their guys. They've paid Chabot, they've paid Matheson, they're looking to pay Kachuk. It's like
they
let's
haven't
put
paid the
this in the
Chuck
past
yet,
already.
though.
They're willing. They're willing.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if before the season they are willing to pay to Chuck.
I would say,
or will he be watching from the press?
Florida is
box?
not like Dreger was probably only their real big loss.
Yeah, which that's expansion
Wenberg and
draft. Like
Yandle
they
are
kind of
still-
knew going into it.
Yeah.
something was
Wenberg
gonna
might
happen.
be Yandel. They didn't want Yandel anyways. Like they were happy with Yandel leaving.
Yeah, fair.
And then Strawman.
Yeah, and they got Radko Gudas,
Gusev.
Gusev
couldn't even get a fucking
Even
NHL
Strawman, they
contract.
dumped for cap reasons.
All right.
Yeah, I know they got a pretty solid team. I think they're going to be
It
in
just
the running.
sucks that your
I
backup
don't know if they're
goalie
gonna win
makes
the
$10
cup, but they
million.
gotta- Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? It's like you better hope Bobrovsky actually does something useful
Yeah.
for you, because fuck, that's such a waste of cap.
Paying a league minimum or entry level contract goalie to start over $10 million.
All right, let's move on to the back-to-back Stanley Cup champs, the Tampa Bay Lightning.
So you just skip Montreal?
Well,
We'll get back to
we'll
Montreal.
get back to them. I don't want to go to them yet.
Still bitter.
I don't like them.
Someone's still bitter.
It was
Just
3-1. Damn it.
Corey Perry.
All right. Well, I mean, for the most part, Tampa looks the same. Yeah, I guess.
Corey
yeah,
Perry's
they're
just
good.
trophy chasing at this point now. You can't beat him. You might as well join him, right? Like, beat my ass.
Yeah,
2 years
it's
in a
like,
row. I'm just
right.
gonna go play with them now. Fuck it.
Well, he got 2 years, so for him, he gets a little bit
Like,
of stability.
They
and-
lost a lot of
I
good
know
players,
Nicholas.
but they're still gross. Like, how the fuck is that
Yeah,
possible? like,
they're still
Yanni
going to be one of
Gord,
the
Blake
best teams in
Coleman,
the
Barkley
division.
Goodrow, Luke Shen. Like, Luke Shen, I don't think played too much, but the first 3 guys are still big names to lose. Like, fuck. And then
Well, it's like essentially it's a case of it's like, oh, they essentially lost their third line because now they've got 2 top lines, and then it's like they've kind of come to a point. It's like their third line, or the way I see it's not terrible, but
That's-
it's not.
They also stole
Fuck,
fucking
God.
Zach Bogosian from us. Damn it. I
he
liked him
wanted
a
to go
lot.
back. He played with them before, did he not?
Yeah, he was
Yes.
with them before, and then he came to Toronto.
I thought there was a stop in
I'm
Buffalo.
happy
at
that he
some point
did.
there.
He was in Buffalo first. He got drafted by
So
Buffalo.
he got out. Good for him.
Yeah, he escaped
He
Buffalo.
managed
hated
to,
playing there.
managed to survive.
But I mean, I understood because even in the documentary,
no,
you
dude,
see
he
him
was
that he's,
drafted
like,
by
telling
the
his family,
Thrashers,
but You
dude.
can't see them. Was he? No way.
Yeah, he was
First-
with Thrashers, and then he went
first
to
round,
Winnipeg
third
with the
overall.
expansion.
Oh, and he was in the Evander Kane trade, probably. I think that's what it was.
So he went
I think
Atlanta,
that might
then
be the case, but it's
Winnipeg,
been
then
so long
Buffalo, Tampa, Toronto. So he only played 8 games with Tampa that year. He must have been dealt at the deadline.
Yeah, and he won the cup with them on that run. Oh yeah, because it was that was
Yeah.
the COVID year.
Now he's like, "Fuck it,
That was the COVID run.
I'll go to Toronto." He's like, "Nope, going back for the 3-peat."
Yeah, well, he was like trapped in their fucking Canadian lockdown, right? So he was like, "This is bullshit. Fuck this. I'm out." So I'm sad. I'm like, "No, our COVID shit scared him away."
I'll be back.
But what can
I
you
had to
do?
pee. I'll be back, boys. Actually,
Oi.
no, I can continue.
Well, here, let's continue on to Montreal. How about? Because I think that's the last one in the division here, right?
Yeah, it's the last team in the division, and we can talk about how we think the division's going to shake out.
Okay. And then we'll do a pee break.
Yeah.
All right.
Montreal, fuck you. They're not making the playoffs. That's my prediction. You're shit.
I don't know. They added quite a few
Also,
good guys, man.
we've beat you twice in the preseason. You suck. Playing the
Remember,
parade.
it's preseason.
Playing the
It's
parade,
preseason.
Trevor. You have heard me. Playing the parade.
All right. We'll see about that. Keep your hopes up.
That's what everyone tells me, man. Like after that win, everyone's like, "Oh, play the parade." I'm like, it's not even Leaf fans saying this. It's like everyone else still saying it.
Bro, they're looking
Gallagher's
actually pretty
obviously
fucking
solid
good.
player. Duran's coming back from his thing that he had going on.
Like anxiety,
Hoffman,
and depression problems.
I don't know if I've seen Hoffman play. I think
he's hurt right now.
I don't remember
I
seeing.
think he's been injured during preseason, yeah. But he will be
Okay.
with the team once he recovers.
I mean, Dvorak was a pretty good pickup. It was hilarious seeing them lose Kotkaniemi, but Dvorak was a good replacement.
Dvorak's way better than Kotkaniemi and got paid way less money.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's locked in for 4 years, right? I mean, basically, like how I see it is Christian Dvorak kind of, I feel like he is what he is now, which is like pretty solid at a second line center role.
Yeah.
And you're probably like, if he gets like 60 points a season, that's like that's what you want from him, right? But Kotkaniemi was kind of like looking like he might not even develop into like a top 6 forward to begin with, which maybe he still has the potential to do it, but I mean, he's kind of like a third liner at best. I feel like
Dvorak's only
bottom
25.
6 forward, so yeah, so he could get better, but I think he's kind of solidified. Like he's kind of like been like, okay, I'm like a second line center, right? He's kind of solidified it a little.
He's put up decent numbers.
Where Kotkaniemi, I don't think he's solidified
Arizona,
at all.
Sorry,
that's the thing. He's playing for a shithole.
He had
team.
31 points in 56 games last year, which isn't bad for playing with Arizona.
Yeah, that's
and
the
then
thing.
with
Like if he gets
Montreal,
50 points, 60 points, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like they've essentially, like, they're still kind of the same as last year. It's like any of your guys in your top 9, it's like you can essentially flip flop them around, and it's like it's not going to make too much difference other than per se the chemistry. It's like they've also added David Savard on the back end. So it's like they've added quite a few pieces and haven't lost too much considering the big name guys like Tatar, Deneau, and
I'd say really the only thing that really hurts them is losing to Deneau, because he's a huge shutdown centerman that plays both ends of the ice really well. So that's a huge loss. But if Paquette or Evans can step up and fill his role, then you can kind of, you can live without losing Deneau, because he didn't score much, but he was great defensively.
Yeah, and Dvorak kind of makes up for that too, because he's a pretty good two-way center. So you kind of
I honestly personally believe Montreal got stronger than they did than they were last year. That's just how I think. But there's only one way to really.
Well, the thing is, they're missing their captain Shea Weber this season. Keep that in mind. So they're missing,
possibly Price to start the year as well.
Yeah, and possibly Price to start the year, which is going to hinder them. But I think the biggest, like, they're missing your captain. You're missing like what I would say is probably their best player on skates.
Weber,
other than Price.
No.
Yeah, I'd say on their blue line. Like, I mean, Petrie's good, but I mean, I would still say Weber's probably better out of the two.
That's debatable.
I would say Petrie.
Either way, like,
than Weber.
Either way, like, well, I mean, that's the thing is Weber was one of their like main power play tools, because you watched him play in the game. They just literally fed it to him all the time to blast it from the point. So they're gonna have to come up with something.
Petrie had way more points than he did. I'm pretty sure Petrie quarterbacked the power play.
Oh, Weber plays the power
on the
play,
second
though.
unit, but
he might be second pair. Yeah,
Petrie, maybe. I'm pretty sure runs that.
Might be a bit of a change at the guard this year, being with his injury.
I mean, Savard is a decent little pickup that they got too. 4 years for him, and he's a right D. Like that's
oh my
3.5.
God, Ben Sherrod is 30 years old.
At 30,
I guess,
years old.
I thought he was younger than that.
One thing I'm gonna say too. Cole Caulfield is completely overrated. Habs fans need to chill the fuck out.
He's going to be better than Matthews.
He's good on the power play, but he's useless 5v5. Better than Matthews. Like that's the thing. We'll see by the end of the year, but I'm just saying he's not as good as everyone thinks. All right, just watch, and don't even compare him to Matthews. Matthews is going to have like 4 times the amount of fucking goals Caulfield's going to put up.
Zach Hyman's winning the fucking.
He's not Matthews, but.
Hyman's winning the Richard.
He's going to score 60 goals and 49 of them are going to be tip-ins.
Well, Matthews got his wrist surgery. He's fucking ready to blow buttholes and rip snipes. I think it's going to be, 75 goals easy for Matthews this year. Rocket Richard winner. Let's go.
Doubtful.
Well, being that we've gone over all the teams now, let's go through how we think the Atlantic is going to shape out. Start with number 8 for me personally, and I think same across the board. It's Buffalo. It's not a question.
Yeah, Buffalo's gonna be bottom in the league probably. Like them and Arizona are gonna be fighting for last place.
Number 7,
Um,
I've got Detroit. I don't know if that'll be the same for you, but
I'm gonna
going with Detroit at
I'm gonna say
7.
Ottawa at 7. Personally,
I'm agreeing with Trevor. Detroit at 7.
I think Detroit's gonna shock
Okay.
a bunch of people this year. Not too much because I'm honestly gonna have Detroit at 6, but I do think they finish ahead of Ottawa and Buffalo.
Yeah, because essentially I say both Ottawa and Detroit are pretty much interchangeable as I have Ottawa
Yeah.
at 6. I'm not going to be no homer. They probably won't win playoffs this year.
Mhm.
And then after
Well-
that, oh fuck,
Wait. At number 6 for me
fuck your 6.
is the Montreal
Oh
Canadiens.
my
Go
god,
on.
Montreal
The
Canadiens.
Montreal Canadiens, number 6.
You're just so bitter.
And that leads me to number 5. Number 5 is going to be the Ottawa Senators. Calling it right now.
You've got a little
Ottawa's
too
going to have
much
a better
off-
regular season than Montreal Canadiens.
You're so fucking bitter.
got a little
And
more
for
optimism.
that, I got Toronto at 5.
Okay, let's be realistic now. That's like,
Honestly,
I've got Montreal
though,
at 5, so it's like
I
I'm
would not be shocked if Toronto misses the playoff this year with that division. How strong that's going to be a very top heavy division. I can see them slipping into a wild card spot. If
It's a strong division, but top 3 is
They're
essentially
making
a
playoffs.
lock.
Okay,
at
my
least.
real
You know
number
they're at least
5
making playoffs.
my real number 5 would probably be Montreal at 5.
Same here.
And then 4,
Senators at number 5.
and then number 4, I
Number
got Toronto
4.
at 4. Like
I'm-
my serious guess is
I've
Toronto
got
at 4.
Toronto at 4. Okay, we're going to be a bit different there. I've got Boston at 4. I don't think their goaltending's going to be that good. And their
That's my
defense
pick
is
as
not the
well.
greatest
I
either.
agree. Boston at number 4 for me as well. I think that their core is getting older. Bergeron's 36. We were just looking at the
Bergeron's
cap
still one of
friendly.
the best
Their
two-way
defense isn't as
fucking
good.
forwards in the game.
They don't have Rask, who I think did a lot of the heavy lifting. As much as fans want to gripe about them, I think Rask is an amazing goalie.
I think
and
Allmark
I
is
think
going
they're
to
miss
shock a
having
lot
him
of
this year.
people.
Well,
I
when
hope
he gets,
does, but
I think he'll be
now,
fine,
I just
yeah.
don't see it.
we gotta see it. But I just feel like Boston's been due for a while to take a step back, and I think this might be the year that they do.
So
Maybe they prove everyone wrong. It is Boston. They do it to me all the time. They seem to be that nuisance that never goes away. But
so you
my
both
prediction
got
is
Boston
fourth.
at 4. I have Toronto at 4. I have
Going to
Boston
3.
at 3. That's where I think they're going to squeak into that top 3. Probably only be like 2 or 3 points
Okay.
ahead of Toronto. Like you guys said, I think it's going to be a tight race between those two for 3rd and 4th.
Fair. I'm going to go with Florida at 3.
I'm going with Toronto at number 3.
Okay. So we're a little bit all over the board here.
And I'll even get to make it interesting. I'm going to start off my number 2 pick. So I guess to make it obvious, my number 2 pick is Tampa, and my number 1 is
my
Florida.
God, you got Florida.
That's why I
winning
think
it?
it's-
See, I got Florida at 2.
They won they were higher in the division than Tampa.
I got
last
Florida
year.
at 2, and I'm pretty sure Tampa's going to win the division this year again.
No, I'm taking.
Yes.
I'm thinking Florida's gonna I'm not saying that Florida's gonna win the cup or anything. Like I think Tampa
No.
would still out them if they played like in a playoff series. But I'm thinking regular season wise, I feel like Florida's gonna have a huge, massive they're gonna come in first, but then they're gonna come and run into Boston and get knocked out round one.
So
Yeah, I'm taking Tampa at 1 and Toronto at 2, but it's like even with you were saying it's like Florida did better than Tampa last year. It's like it really like those top 3 teams in that division last year. It's like there was only
Just
like a team
Carolina
or two
too. I think
between
was
it.
first, right? They were first.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was close. I mean, this is like how I see it too. Is basically those 4 teams: Boston, Toronto, Florida, and Tampa. I think it's really I think they're making the top 4, but I think it's going to be a jumble of any of those 4 teams could be first. Any of those 4 teams could be fourth. Like I think it's going to be really close in that. Like it's such a top heavy division, and you got Montreal and Ottawa, who I think are going to be those kind of like pushing like bubble, wild card territory kind of things. So they could even make us I could see Ottawa snagging like a wild card spot this year. That's why I'm so confident in putting them at number 5, because I'm thinking they might actually sneak in if they can play one, if they can get to Chuck under contract, because they do need him. But if Murray can have like just a decent season, like and stay relatively healthy, I think they could be pretty good. Because I think that last half of the season of the Canadian division, I think they started to tear it up, and people haven't really taken notice. So I think they're going to surprise some teams this year. I think they're a team to kind of look out for.
But yeah, essentially you've got Tampa, Toronto, Florida, and Boston. It's like 1 through 4, they can go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's like they're going to be that close. It's like Montreal, Ottawa, Detroit. Kind of a similar situation. I kind of see Montreal just being a bit ahead of both Ottawa and Detroit, but it's an 82-game season. The whole lot can happen. But unfortunately, I don't see Buffalo.
And then the Sabres lose out the race to the Guelph Storm and the Kitchener Rangers.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. That Kitchener Rangers probably could go.
Man, Buffalo looks awful. Like they're literally an AHL looking lineup. Like I don't know if like
I went to them. I'm like, who are half the players here?
Like normally, there's not like there is a pretty bad lineup usually every year. But when was the last time a team looked that terrible? Like even Buffalo last year looks better than the team they have this year on paper.
Like when you're playing a GM mode on NHL, and you get to the point after so many years, like the game just starts making up players' names. Like here's just some random fucking guy. Here's guy. This is what this guy is like. Axel Johnson Filjabi or whatever the fuck his name is here. Like, who is that? That's an EA creative player. Vinny Hinostroza, EA creative player.
Actually, that name sounds familiar. Hinostroza?
Hinostroza is a bit more significant, yes, but it's like Johnson and Faljabi, they got off of waivers recently.
Jacob Bryson, who is that?
Nobody knows.
Probably won't be starting.
Nobody fucking knows.
John Hayden, I think. Did they draft this dude recently? John Hayden. Who the fuck is that? EA creative player. Rasmus Asplund. EA creative
John
player.
Hayden. That is such a... No, they didn't. I don't...
Who is this?
Dude's...
So I'm saying, who is that?
Dude's 26.
Like, sure, okay, I've heard of Yoki Haru. I've Will Butcher, I know who that is. Colin Miller, Rasmus Downey.
Played for the Blackhawks.
Robert Hagg. Okay, their defense, I know who
then
they are.
New Jersey, then Arizona.
But they're forwards. It's like 6 of them. It's like, who are these guys? Like, these are just
John Hayden guy's not even in the fucking
NHL.
Bodies. They have him as Rochester American, so he's already been cut.
Exactly. See, EA creative players cut, sent down.
Kid played for Detroit. Fucking honey baked. Fuck you, bud. Fuck Detroit, honey baked. I'm glad you're not in the NHL.
But yeah, I mean, this is just like, okay, Tage Thompson. Yeah, I know who that is. Like, their teams are bad.
1, 2, or no wild card teams in this division.
This division,
that's hard,
if I go
the Metro's good too.
If I remember correctly of how I think all the standings are shaking. Actually, no, I'm going 1-1. That's like in my case.
Yeah, because like the Metro, you got Philly, Pittsburgh, Washington, Islanders, Rangers, all teams that I can see fighting.
I got Toronto with the 1 wild card, and I'm gonna go offsuit and say the Rangers get the 2nd wild card.
Okay. Well, we'll get more into that when we talk about the Metro on another episode. But for now, is there any more comments we want to add for the Atlantic, or we want to wrap her up?
No, let's wrap this one up. We're pretty much running out of time here, and I think we went pretty in depth on our analysis with this division. So
all I want to say is,
good episode, boys.
Toronto chokes again.
I mean, past history dictates that's likely what's going to happen.
Good possibility.
So,
well, folks,
if anything, them actually succeeding would be the more surprising.
Thanks for tuning in for another episode of the Bottom Six with your 3 knuckleheads hosts.
Another good fucking round.
I think it was a good chat, and we'll be back next time to talk about the Pacific Division and how Edmonton's gonna win the cup. But yeah, that's for next time, folks. So tune in and listen to my loony takes on the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, catch you later, folks.